Hi, everyone. I hope you guys are doing really well. Happy Friday. We are literally the eve, or technically the eve of the Pisces full moon, which is so exciting. So I thought it would be kind of nice to do a live instead of doing recorded. I'm gonna see how you guys enjoy it. Let me know down below in the comments how you enjoy doing a live as opposed to just having it uploaded. It's pre-recorded. I just felt energetically it's a great way to connect with you guys, but then also you get the update of the energy update. So you guys are lucky you get 2 lives in a row. Yesterday, I came on and jumped on the live on talking about the queen and that representation for the system and the collective. So if you haven't checked that video out, you can. If it's your first time meeting me, hi, I'm Shika. Let me know in the comments, guys, where you're tuning in from and how you're feeling. On this channel, I really focus on helping you with shadow work and healing and supporting those who are space holders, but those also committed to their journey. And I do these moon energy updates every single month. So today we're going to be going over how the Libra new moon on September 25th is going to affect you. And this new moon is going like every new moon or full moon, it affects you 3 days before, the day of, and 3 days after. So I'm just being mindful. Oh, Canada, that's awesome. I'm in Canada as well. But yeah, just being mindful how your energy is feeling, how it's shifting, how are you doing in this time, okay? Now I know we're in the eve of the Pisces, so there's a lot coming up, emotional. I'm on this quest, yeah. So there's this energy, but I also noticed as I was writing and tuning into the downloads of this Libra new moon, it's really connected to the full moon, and I really want to do more videos talking about the connection of the full year, because the more that we can work with the moons, not only seeing them as a singular day, but also just throughout the year, the more that we can kind of tune into it. So I will be pulling out cards live and sharing with you what you need to know and how it will affect you. Before we get into all these things, it really helps the channel if you give this video a thumbs up, like, subscribe, share with friends, so they know, more about this content. They can work more with the moon, because honestly, like, we are what, 75% water, right? The moon affects the water. It's shown scientifically as well. So why wouldn't we focus on the moon and just tuning into why our energy has shifted? So it does help the channel sharing that. And if you are interested in working deeper one-on-one, I do have my one-on-one mentoring. I have 2 spots available for September and 2 for October. That's going to be my last spots for this specific program for the year. So if you've been wanting to go into a deep container to help you learn how to be a healer, to be a space holder, or maybe you just want to work on your healing and you need some support and accountability, you can message me on Instagram or through my website. And I also have some retreats, which I'm really excited for. Oh my God, I can't believe the years have gone by so quickly. So I have a retreat happening in 2 weeks in Canada. So it's funny that you said, Nadine, that you're in Canada. Hello, Kim from Louisiana. And it's going to be a weekend retreat. So it's 2 nights long. And this retreat will be serving Kambo. So all my retreats, I'm a medicine carrier of Kambo, which is a frog medicine, along with some other medicines as well. So this is a retreat weekend where you get to reset, clear yourself for the next months ahead to come up, because there's going to be some big ones. We have a Scorpio new moon coming up in a lunar eclipse. Like, there's a lot of things going on in the next few months. I also have my Costa Rica retreat that's happening for the Awaken healers. So if you want to learn how to be a healer, you're interested in being attuned in Reiki, and you're also interested in medicine, that's also going to be a plant medicine retreat in Costa Rica, the 23rd of October to the 31st. And then lastly is my St. Lucia retreat on the lands of my ancestors. And that's going to be in St. Lucia from December 3rd to December 11th. So if you're interested in tuning into your ancestors, clearing karmic debt, abundance, debt, lineage of ancestral lack frequency, and taking on all of your lineage and just the patterns of your family, your parents, this is going to clear. We're doing constellation therapy as well, which is really good. So all that information, just message me and I can chat with you and you can learn more. Okay, let's get into this reading, because this Libra New moon is a vibe. I want to check in with everyone, how everyone's doing as you're tuning in, how you're feeling. I got my notes, I got my book. We're ready, we're ready, we're ready. Okay, so this Libra new moon is happening on September 25th, 2022. Okay. And the first thing we're tuning into is Libra. Any Libras, let me know with the Libra sign down below. If you're Libra rising, a Libra sign, if you have Libra in your chart at all, let me know in the comments. Libra is the sign of balance. It's the sign, they're leaders, they're people who people look up to. They're really diplomatic when they make decisions, sometimes to their own risk, because when they're so diplomatic, they can tend to bring in that pleasing to other people when they're imbalanced. So, the first thing I'm seeing here, and we're seeing this already just based on the chaos that's been going on. Like I said, the reading that I did with why the representation for the collective of the queen dying, and also tuning into the Pisces full moon that we have as well. All of these layers. So as we go into the Pisces full moon, and I want to go into this before the Libra, the Pisces full moon is energetically tuning us into creating, allowing us to bring imagination, allowing us to not be restricted by anything, by systems, by old patterns, by old belief systems, and really starting fresh, starting all over again. How would that feel to you to start over completely? To get rid of everything that you know right now and just start all over, okay? So this is kind of the energy that we're tuning into this Libra new moon. Now, this Libra new moon is the first thing you need to know about this Libra new moon is that slowing down, but be efficient. So, this work hustle lifestyle that our ancestors were raised with, which is interesting. I talk about ancestral healing and the ancestral retreat. But if we tune into how did your family work? Like, what was their idea around work? I know for my family, it was like you get an education, you are set to go, right? And what we're seeing in this new earth, this new generation, this new collective, and what is needed by the collective in general is that we're seeking for something that is more balanced. It's not about how much money we get. It's now about the lifestyle. It's about the abundance in multiple things. So we're being called to slow down to see what we actually want and stop comparing ourselves from other people. And when we can slow down, we can see where we're using our energy unconsciously and where it's not efficient. Okay. So I'm going to pull out a card here because I feel like let's pull out a card on slowing down. And the quote that came up, the spirit shared is work smarter, not harder. So really tuning into that whole belief that work smarter, not harder. So let's see what cards. Oh, these cards want to come out. Okay. Okay, so let's see. We have 4 cards. 4 is just like clarity, realization, awakening. So that's kind of the energy of 4. If you want to learn more about angel numbers, I have a whole playlist on that you guys can check out. So the first card that's coming up is Truth Be Told. Okay, we have the owl energy, and I love pulling out this card. Oh, my throat. So Truth Be Told is really telling us let the mask be removed. So don't be afraid to allow other people to see you slow down in your life right now. Again, there's this mentality that some of us still have that if we're slowing down or if we don't have everything put together, that we've failed. Right. And it's not that we've failed, it's just that we've noticed that something doesn't work for us or something's not in alignment. So, this Libra new moon is all about creating these new intentions of slowing down and seeing that actually benefiting you in the long run. So the truth be told, I'm going to read a little bit more about this. We have 1, 4, so 14 is the card number, and 1 is new beginnings and realizations of clarity is 4. So honesty, accepting things to face value, coming out of denial, and willingness to be transparent, clarity, and communication. So I can't help but to say that with the Mercury retrograde that we're currently in, and I know a lot of people on social media talk about how, the Mercury retrograde is like a time where it's like scary and all of those things. But what it calls us to do is to communicate better. So balancing our communication with ourselves, all parts of ourselves, our internal thoughts. So, what is your brain diet? What are you thinking? That's everything from like your thoughts on your subconscious level. How do you talk to yourself? All these things. It could be the way you talk to yourself in the mirror. It could be the way that you talk to yourself in everyday life. It could be the way that you talk to yourself just in general. This is truth be told, but there's also this higher self that's coming in that I feel like that's giving you some more clarity, that maybe you're allowing yourself to drown over how slowing down is going to actually be against you. And really, what Spirit's saying here is that with the Libra new moon, it's telling us that no, it's going to totally benefit with us. So I'm going to read a little bit more about this card. There is the truth, which is the essence of anything. And then the truth is subjective to, according to the philosophy of the adherent or believer. This is not a time to debate about the truth or the truer. This is a time for you to be called to proclaim your truth out loud and to be willing to be transparent, honest, and communication with others and yourself. So, for some of you who have this workaholic tendency, maybe tuning into, what are you hiding from? What are you afraid of slowing down and seeing in your life? Right? So when we use working and being busy as we're working, we have a lot of things going on, especially some people who are business owners or people who have very high intense jobs. We're actually hiding from something. You got to ask yourself, what am I hiding from to balance in my life? Right? What am I avoiding to balance in my life and to clean up and to clear out? Because again, fall is all about cleaning and clearing, preparing for us to go into the next season. I'm reading your message, Kim. So funny. I spoke to a friend who is older. He made a statement that the new generation don't pick careers. They make money. They pick careers based on how they feel, 100%. So that's really what's happening with the collective. It's like we're slowing down, and it's almost like all of these old patterns. That's why I talked about the queen and the representation of the collective. You should go check that reading out. It's almost like with this space, with this energy, we're yearning for something more. We're so deep into emotional intelligence. The emotional intelligence and consciousness of the collective right now is nothing that has been in history. And with that, that means that a lot of things have to go, which means there's going to be a lot of you who have these like awakenings of understanding, this efficiency. What is efficient for you? What is slowing down for you? Everyone's is going to look different. For me, slowing down looks like sleeping in an hour more and not going to the gym if I feel like my body doesn't want to, or not working out if my body feels like it doesn't want to. What is slowing down for you? So if you can do that as a shadow work prompt for this Libra new moon, it's going to really help you and allow you to tune into that. Nothing less than surrender for what is, peeling off the layers of denial that keeps you tied to the illusion that you're set free. So again, going up to saying, a lot of you are going to notice that maybe you've been working a lot in your job or working towards a certain goal or intention, and you're noticing that this work that you've been doing, and I'm just channeling spirit here, the work that you've been doing has kind of gone down the drain, in the sense that it's been a false illusion that's saying that you were actually working hard towards something. And I'm seeing that a little bit with my close friends and family, where they're turning in and they're like, wow, I put all this effort into this job. I put all this effort into this relationship. I put all this effort into this. And now I'm seeing it clearer, and I'm seeing that this effort wasn't really going to it. I was making myself believe that I was becoming, getting that promotion or making more money, or that the relationship would feel more safe if I have this, right? So there's some truth, there's some core truth that is coming up for a lot of you during this Libra new moon. And for some of you, you're going to digest it well. For others, it's going to be like probably this like awakening of reality and just welcoming that. And this brings me perfectly to buy the book, which I can't help but share that this is an ancestral card. So we have 11, which is new beginnings. And what this is telling me is, what book are you writing? What new book? Again, we're going into how this is connected to the Pisces full moon, the Libra new moon, and also with the tuning into the whole situation with the queen passing away as well. So by the book is really telling us, and I'm going to read this card, admitting to social rules, conformity, and respecting culture and family customs. So asking yourself here, slowing down, maybe this is something that you don't know. Maybe your family had to hustle most of their life because they were constantly on fight or flight, and emotional intelligence was not something taught. I always tell people when they do ancestral healing, it's important for us to not get mad at our family for what they didn't show up and what they didn't do. And I see a lot of parents, I'm going to call out some parents, and this is coming up. I see a lot of parents, family members, and people who may, have children, and they say, well, my child didn't have this, so I want to make sure that they have this. No, it's your inner child feels like they're missing something, and that's causing you to parent that child from the space of a wound, right? So, how are we rewriting our realities? How are we rewriting the way that we're living? Be more connected with our food, looking more at medicinal ways to heal our body, tuning into, what's happy for us. I'll give you a perfect example, buying a home. For some of you, maybe buying a home is something that is a great, something that you want, but then it's also something that's instilled in our family customs. Some of us maybe are taught, if you buy a home, you've made it, right? But is that making it for you? Or are you trying to live this false reality for your family? So I'm going to read this one. The universe works within structure and divine laws and principles, provides a framework of the human experience and evolution. We are here to experience things. And what Libra new moon on September 25th, 2022 is bringing us is that we're balancing the things that we're experiencing for us and we're experiencing in the outer world, right? And we're balancing the space of how much are we doing things for other people to just get a reaction, and how much are we doing things to bring peace and balance in ourselves. The law of abundance, the law of prayer, the law of karma, the law of attraction, all of these laws are well known, right? There's a reason why we have a lot of videos here on law of attraction and these things are great. These are principles, but it's what we attach to these principles that create our reality and create our book, that create the context, that create the good stories that we live and we share with our family and friends. These principles create perfect order and operate with a kind of precision beyond the human understanding. So knowing that things don't always make sense to our human, and we, as much as we do so many readings and things, at the end of the day, we have to tune into remembering our inner compass, following your inner compass. Laws keep social order and govern behavior, reflecting on the instinctive understanding of harmony is important. This is a time to learn that these laws are conformed to them rather than being a rebel to floating them. When the card appears, submit the structure and follow the rules, even if it seems like it does not make sense. So follow your inner rules is what's coming up. And again, this is going to be more clear of a path for you to tune into your healthy masculine once you've received that clarity in yourself. Okay. So another thing that's coming down, when you can slow down for this new moon, you're going to get more clarity to make a decision. Some of you are in limbo, and during this Libra new moon on September 20th, 2022, you're going to get clarity to figure out what's in limbo and what do I have to solidify in my life? What do I have to say yes and no to? What do I have to get clarity on? When this card appears, it submits the structure and follow the rules, even if it seems like it doesn't make sense. I already read that. Release resistance for the universal laws will correct any disharmony. Open your eyes to the universal laws, and it makes it easier to go by the book at this time. So one thing I'm going to go into, because this is perfect, this is not a good time to make big decisions. Okay, so I'm going to just follow on that card. That's one thing that came up. So any business decisions to like create a big business and launch, to sign a contract for a house, to create big finance investments. This is not a time that we want to do this. If anything, the new moon is a time where we want to sit and we want to reflect on how we want to move when that time comes up. So it's a lot of planning, and knowing that planning happens when we slow down. When we can plan, then it's your job to commit to what you have to do to fit it out, to make it happen, right? And I see both ends of this. I see people who plan too much and people who don't plan at all, right? So for some of you who tend to procrastinate when you're under a space of not knowing what's next in the unknown and the great mystery of the universe, if you react that way, this new moon is going to affect you to, start creating those plans, creating more commitment. For those of you who over plan, you're going to have a lot of things delayed. Okay, the new moon in Libra on September 25th, 2022, 3 days before the day of and 3 days after, there's going to be some delay, but the delay is going to be a blessing because I always say that rejection from the universe is protection from the universe. Rejection from the universe is protection from the universe. So, really tuning into that. We got two other cards I'm going to go into, and then I'm going to elaborate on that point. So, chop wood. So, new moon is a representation of setting intentions, right? And it's hard for us to set intentions when there's a lot of chaos in the space. So, the chop wood is just saying that some of you are going to do some more clearing, some more relationships. Again, Libra is the sign of balance, right? So, when we tune into relationships, a lot of you might end up being MIA around this time because you're noticing that maybe certain relationships are needing more of your efforts and you need to take that time to slow down for you. And others might require to actually invest more time in your relationship because you got to show up and universe is testing you. And maybe you'll be also finding yourself tuning into the relationship with yourself, doing more dream work around this time too, which is really big. So we have 42 here, which is the number two, action. 40, which and the four is awakening and realizations, and again, perspective. So you see how every point I put in is a lot about awakening and perspective. I'm just reading your comments. Fell off at my drive. Yeah. So this is all connected. Pisces, the Mercury retrograde, the Libra, this you'll see all the connections. And that's probably why I felt called to do this reading a little bit earlier this time. So Chopwood is being grounded in everyday experience and humility. So really tuning into how can I ground myself as I rebalance and restructure my life. So this is a great shadow work prompt. How can I ground myself as I restructure my life? So for some of you, if that requires that you're in this limbo and you're that workaholic and you're being called to slow down and have things not happen when they're meant to, for you, how can you ground in the uncertainty? How can you ground in not knowing what's next and surrender and still trust in that space? And for others of you who've been procrastinating and maybe resisting certain things at arm's length, this is an opportunity for you to say, how can you ground through the triggers? How can you ground through rebalancing yourself, even when it's hard? So there are times where there's big dreams is meant and lie in dormant. So there are times where we're manifesting, and this is something I'm going to go into, which is the next thing you need to know about this Libra new moon on September 25th, 2022, is as we're in Mercury retrograde, we're being kind of called to balance shadow work and manifestations. Okay. And what I mean by that is some people tend to manifest a lot. They want to manifest, 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 and they do all the scripting, they do all the manifestation methods, they do all the things. But then at the same time, they're putting their shadow work at dormant, right? So what happens is they're manifesting at a lower frequency and they're wondering, why in the world, when I work with the moon, I'm not receiving what I'm asking for? Because there's still things that need to clear, right? It's almost like if you have a sink, right, in your kitchen and you're putting stuff down the sink and it's clogged. It's clogged with food, it's clogged with all this stuff, it's clogged with hair, whatever, or your bathroom sink. And you're trying to force that water down, right? You can't force a manifestation, right? It comes with ease. It comes with already knowing that it is with you and that it is so. There's no future, there's no past, it's just being with you in that moment. So if you are trying to force something that the universe is trying to pause, or like I said, rejection is protection, they're trying to kind of delay to help you rebalance so that when you revisit that manifestation, you're in a balanced state, then that's for your best good, right? There's also the other part with shadow work. I see this a lot when I work with people where they do a lot of healing, they do a lot of shadow work, but they're not celebrating, right? So they feel burnt out. And this is what slow down means. If you have been doing a lot of shadow work, what Libra New Moon is calling you to do some self-care slowing down. Okay, which means maybe take a pause from the shadow work, allow yourself to integrate the healing that you've received, right? You can't just keep working and working and working and working and expect yourself to have energy for to receive something if you're crawling to the door and the universe is ringing the doorbell and you're exhausted, or you're in bed trying to, heal a foot that you twisted or you broke, right? So it's understanding this space of like balancing between um shadow work and manifestation. So with the chop wood, going back to this card, consider yourself pruning the tree and um, redoing it, reshifting it, allowing these beautiful blooms to come out. So when we're trimming the tree, we want to make sure that we're maintaining it so that tree can bloom, so that tree can help itself. So we're kind of helping what is here. We're helping the growth of the tree. How are you helping the growth of yourself? How are you helping the growth of these new shifts? So again, these are really important. We don't want to have dead trees on there and expect the tree to be growing and to be full of life, because all of that energy is going to those dead ends. So this brings me to another question. Are there any cords of towards patterns, relationships, um, people, contracts, soul contracts that are dead, but you're still holding on to, thinking they're still there? And a great analogy of this is sometimes what happens when people do shadow work and they go through trauma or somatic healing. What happens is they think that they're still in that experience. They think that they're still in pain, or the word that comes up, I don't know why this might resonate with some of you, broken, like there's something wrong with them. And that's not the case. What spirit's giving you in this new moon is to balance and say, hey, let's celebrate that this cord is gone and let's finally remove it. Let's trim the tree. So asking yourself what things you have to trim that's still reminding you of your old life, of your old version of you. And you're holding on to it because that's all you know. So chop wood, again, that analogy is coming in so deeply. Chop the wood, even if it's hard. I know it's difficult. I've also been in that situation where I'm looking at things that remind me of my old self, and I'm like, well, I'll just keep it there for a little bit longer. We need to allow ourselves to balance and receive that. So, what's the other part that I have here? So, taking your attention away from what brings the state of receptivity. Okay, so this is huge. This is a deeper purpose to release the attachment. I'm going to change the word release to dissolve, because I talked about words and how that's important. Release doesn't actually let it go. Dissolving means it's gone. So dissolve attachment. How can we dissolve our detachment? Okay, and find deeper purpose in working more efficiently to our soul's mission, our soul's version, our soul, what our soul's meant to do. So here we're planning and we're prepping and we're trimming that garden, we're taking out the weeds so that that garden can really come out and be this beautiful blossom, to be these beautiful vegetables, to be these beautiful fruits. So tuning into that when engaging to everyday tasks, meditative, bring meditative state to that place. So another great tip for you during this Libra new moon on September 25th, 2022, 3 days before, the day of, and 3 days after, is how can you bring a meditative state? How can you be more meditative with yourself and meditative in your energy? Okay, even when any emotion comes in, and I'll go into emotions in a little bit, but how can I be more meditated every day? So I'll give you an example. For me, what I like to do is when I'm having a really long day, I automatically allow myself to give permission to do a 5-minute deep breath. So what I do is I just sit there, whether my eyes are closed or open, and I really tune into breathing into my body, creating space into my body where I feel there's some tension there. So this is big, bringing into grounding. How can you ground? Even if you have a 9 to 5 job, there's still opportunity for you to ground. Okay. You don't need to have a job where you need more time. There's this kind of subconscious excuse that's coming up through spirits like, I need more time. No, you don't need more time. You need to make the time that's there for you and make it work. Right. So, how can you move through that? And um, chop wood also comes up with what's coming up for me is these old beliefs that you need more to be happier. I need more to be happier. And that goes back to what we talked about at the beginning of the video, where we talked about this idea that what our parents, what our ancestors had as their life of working harder and saying that that was the way of a good life, is the veil has been removed. That isn't a good, per se, a good life for a lot of us in this collective generation right now. It's shifted. It's now, what we eat. It's now the people, the time we spend. It's the loved ones. It's our relationships. It's the connection. It's the community. It's the unity. That is really what we want. So as we chop these woods, again, we're chopping all of those old beliefs that are making us feel imbalanced and making us feel lost and making us reconnect with our why. Why are you here? And that's really why a lot of us are doing this journey, right? It's like, why are you here? Why are you watching this video? Why are you in your job? What makes you feel alive there? What makes you feel balanced and grounded? Why are you in your relationship with your spouse and partner? A remembering of that why. Because regardless, that's what's going to make you go back to the by the book, which by the book again, it's like rewriting those rules and these ways that the world sees us and the way that we've been taught, but still working with some of that healthy masculine, that inner rules, these inner rules that relate to us. So the last card we have is never ending story. Okay. And I love this one because it's just really, it's a straightforward one, but I'm going to just share the first words because I always love reading this. Self-criticism, the wounded ego, unnecessary drama. So let's go into ego a little bit. It makes it hard for us to balance on two ends. And what's going to happen is our ego is going to have a little shake during this new moon in Libra on September 25th, 2022. What does that mean? Is that our ego itself, anything that we're attaching to, any systems, any beliefs, any ways outside of ourselves in the material world, that is going to be shaken. And maybe that requires a lower finance during that time. Maybe something happens and you have a little less money around that time. Maybe that means that like you went to put a bid for a house and it didn't go through and you're like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Then I'm only going to be able to do this. Maybe it's as simple as, going to this grocery store and wanting to get something and you can't find it. And then you're getting mad because you feel entitled. So here what's coming up for me is the imbalance of entitlement that I feel like us humans have quite often, right? And there's another side to this. So entitlement meaning that we feel entitled to say, why is this happening, right? But there's also the other end of that where it's like the ego comes in that space to protect itself from something, right? So it's like, I need to work. I'm too busy. I don't have time to do this. Da, 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 da. That's the ego speaking because the ego is trying to say, I need to focus on receiving and getting all of the human things, right? So what Libra new moon is like, we're shaking that up and we're bringing you back to your core of peace and love. It's as simple as it goes. So it's stopping, blaming people for the things, blaming yourself for the things. And it's now seeing that, when I can slow down, the clarity has already been within me. And that's one of the reasons why I don't do personal readings unless it's a client or whatnot, or honestly, I just do them throughout my sessions or here with you guys. Because for me, I feel like energy changes and I want to make sure that people know that they have the power in themselves, right? And that's where ego can help us, right? Knowing that there's the power in yourself. There's the power in yourself to create a decision, to make a decision, which is Libra. Libra is all about decisions. It's the healthy masculine. It's about balancing. It's looking for the better good for all people and yourself, first yourself. And this is where that saying comes, being selfish to be selfless, right? But when we're being selfish, to actually not be selfless, I'll give you an example. If someone is, I'm going to give a business example because I know a lot of you here started your business and stuff, or maybe you have a business right now. If you have a business, right, and you want clients, why do you want clients? Are you doing it because you want more money and you have to pay rent? Are you working a job because you have to pay rent and that's what's the bills and the kids are at home, blah, blah, blah? You're making it seem like it's for other things, but it's actually for you. It's for your own insecurity and unsafety within yourself. So the beauty of this Libra new moon is it's rebalancing, and it's making you really come to your why again, your why of why you're here, your balance, you're tuned in space, your balance of yourself. And instead of saying I need those clients because of this, it's like I want to help and support the world because I know that through that I can give this offer. It's that humbleness, it's that humility that's coming up from the Libra, right? So a lot of us, if our ego is being protecting something and insecurity, abandonment, our hearts, well, it's about to just get a little bit of a little shake, a little blend in the blender to remind us again why we're here. And I talked about this in the other reading I did yesterday with the Queen, is like, we're here for a legacy. That's really what it's here. And Libras are leadership sign, right? How are you taking full responsibility and ownership of your life, of your being, of your patterns, of your shadow work, of your manifestation, while allowing yourself to balance and know that I can sit and be at ease and be grounded in that space and not be in panic and not be in desperation. These are the things that are coming up for this card. Now I'm going to read a little bit more with this card because it's deeper in it. So ego is our reflection within our fears, fear of no money, loneliness, etc. So ego itself, the ego is actually important. When people say ego death, it just minimizes. It doesn't fully die. It's still there. But it feels like an ego death because it just went from this big to so small, right? It's like big as a house, and then it goes to as big as a flower. That's a huge shift, right? So it feels like ego death because we've come from this big shift to another. And I see that a lot when I do medicine ceremonies and stuff, people going through ego death. It's like that. It's not actually, it's still there. And what the ego helps us do is it helps us choose ourselves for the better of everyone in the collective. It helps us choose ourselves so we can show up and help and support people. So we can be a better mother. So we can be a better worker. So we can be a better mentor. So we can be a better sister, better father, right? But if we're choosing those things out of just like our own selfish ways, and when I say selfish, right, it's the opposite. It's not being selfish for being selfish. It's being selfish for yourself. It's being selfish to avoid something. It's being selfish because you feel like there's no love. It's being selfish because you feel there's a lack, right? So the ego is a protection mechanism when expanded, when running the show from something that it is hiding from, a truth that it is hiding from, going back to this card, right? So this Libra new moon is about balancing truth and being selfish to selfless, balancing truth and being selfish to selfless. I hope that resonates with you guys and that attunes with sharing a little bit more about what that message and that card means. Okay, so there is a story woven into the imperfect fabric, the life that tells of hurt and loss, rejection and humility, self-loathing and arrogance, and all manners of suffering born of the unnecessary dramas. It is the old story that refrains it's that you can't do this, must not go there, should not say that, least your world from the crumbling down. So this is really saying that inner talk, right? The never ending story. You ever feel like we're looking at something and it feels like we're looking at it and we're looking at the same thing and we feel like we're going through the same pattern and we're going through the same nonsense over and over again? Has that ever happened to you? I know it's happened to me where every single time, like, I'm looking at something, I'm trying to solve an issue, I'm trying to see this person's perspective or whatever it is, and it feels like I'm hitting a wall, right? And I want you to go back and what I want you to do right now, I want you to think of this moment, maybe a recent moment that you've had where it felt like you were stuck. Okay. I want you to take a moment of that. I want you to tune into that as I read this reading. Today, know that the non of this is actually true. The sky is not falling. The voice you hear is just small, scared, conditioned, part of you that is stuck in a lie, won't want you to be protected and needs to be a victim and seen as a victim. Love that lost piece of you. Fear is all it knows. So, with this Libra new moon, for those of you who are in this space where this Libra new moon is causing you to see what you've been hiding from with workaholism, with distraction. And once the Libra new moon comes in effect, it slows and delays things down to make you come and sit with yourself. We use a lot of things, again, in the material world, chop wood, in the material world to attach ourselves to avoid something bigger, to avoid the bigger picture. So here it's really saying that let that voice do what it's doing because it's small. At the end of the day, it's a small voice that's just trying to shift you. But my question is, how much of what you hear from that voice are you believing? Because it's only true when you believe it. When we tune into, the lies, the stuck in the lies in that part of you is your shadow. That part of you is what's hiding behind the ego. So this Libra new moon on September 25th, 2022 is calling us to balance and have a balanced relationship with our higher self and with our shadow, right? With our true self, with our ego, with the part of us that really needed help at some point and maybe felt like we didn't have help. Think of a moment when you were at your lowest and you thought people would show up for you and you didn't feel like you got that help, right? It's not about coming from that emotion because that emotion, that reality is not your reality right now. But how much are you allowing that reality to be that never ending story, to be a victim of that story, to be a victim of that emotion, to protect yourself by avoiding, by running away? What are you running away from? You're running away from yourself. That's a big one, big download. You're running away from yourself. So this Libra new moon is balancing and saying, I can look at that part of myself and I love you and I thank you for bringing me to where I am. And now I'm going on to this new chapter and I'm welcoming it with open arms. That's hard and it will take time. I'm not saying that in the 3 days before the day of and 3 days after that you might get to a point where you're fully in love with yourself and fully in this space. It's a never ending experience with this shadow work. But what I will say is that at the end of the day, when you go through this experience, you will take something from this new moon. There will be something that will balance more. And there will be some way that you will get off that hamster wheel. You'll get off that running that same path. It's almost like if we go for a run and you take the same route every single day for many years, and you're wondering why you're not motivated. You're wondering why I don't like running anymore. You're wondering why I actually see it as a chore now. It's because you've been doing the same pattern for so many years, for 40, 30, 50 years, 20 years. So, of course, when you're running, you're not going to enjoy it anymore. Life is balanced through change. Life is balanced through change. And a lot of us want change, but we're not willing to move through it. So, how we get off of that same path is we decide to explore somewhere new, even though if it's scary, even if we don't know if it comes back to our car in the parking lot and we're not sure, it's still going to allow us to get to that point where we need to be, right? We need to trust that we'll get there. And I've had that a few times. I've gone on runs and I'm like, don't know the path. And I'm like, oh, okay. But it's an adventure, right? So Libra is reminding us, how can we have an adventure in life while balancing this masculine of creating structure within ourselves and the new changes and the new path and the new running path that we want to go on, and still know that this path is meant. But if we keep on going on that same path for 20, 30, 40 years, running that path every single day at 6 a.m., of course, we're going to be exhausted. Of course, we're going to feel burnt out. Of course, we're not going to feel that something has changed because you haven't decided to change, right? And Libra is the sign of change. It's the sign of creating decisions, making decisions for the greater good of yourself and the collective for the best, in truth, in integrity. I'm just reading your comments. No more running, no more hiding, show up, stand out. Exactly. A lot of us are showing up, but we're not standing up. We're not allowing people to see us, right? We're hiding. We're like, we're here, but you're hiding. It's almost like when you're a kid and the teacher asks, okay, who has an example for this question, right? and then you're the kid in the back who's hiding and hoping that you don't make eye contact with the teacher so they can pick you. You want to be seen, but you're not allowing that teacher to pick you. You're not allowing the universe to pick you and say, hey, oh yeah, you, it's your time. But you're sitting here and you're wondering why there's no change. So, big message there. Reading. Yep. Abraham Hicks says exactly that. You can move anywhere, run away, but you can still be in your presence. Yeah, 100%. Thanks for sharing that, Julian. Okay, I want to finish up with the last point of the Libra new moon, and I want to go on to the collective effect of this Libra new moon. So the last thing you need to know about this Libra new moon on September 25th, 2022 is emotional intelligence. I talked about this a little bit throughout this whole video about emotional intelligence, but I'm going to go a little bit deeper. So, really tuning into, what is your energy and others' energy. That's going to help you have a clear mind of decision. And this comes to how much of our life is made and done based on other people's truth, other people's books, which we talked about, truth, books, and chords, old stories, and our own never-ending story. Okay. So when we tune into that and we're like, what is your emotions and what are others? This is a great time during the Libra new moon for you to understand your emotional intelligence. So tuning into where in your body do you notice that it's your yes? Where in your body do you notice when it's someone else's yes? So let me give you an example. Your partner's asking you, "Hey babe, what do you want for dinner tonight?" And you're like, you want sushi. You know your partner wants pasta. Okay. So what this Libra new moon is like, we need to make sure you say your truth. So your partner is about to order that pasta and you really don't want it. You're like, can't do the milk, can't do the dairy. I don't know, everyone else is lactose intolerant, but I really want sushi. So you're sitting there and you have two ways of deciding in this space. Okay. The new moon can either go either way, right? You can either say, yeah, let's get pasta, because you don't want to go through, finding the whole like telling why you don't want it, blah, 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 or her or them, why you don't want it. You don't want to go through that explanation, right? So what happens? You go through this space and you're just sitting there. But you're also angry because when you get the pasta, you're like, I don't want pasta. I didn't want this. But you're complaining why you didn't want this. No one was holding you, telling you that you can't speak, but you chose not to say what you wanted or not to express or communicate, which is all about what's going on with Mercury retrograde and the moons that are coming up. Right? So that's huge. So what we've done is we've now chosen to force someone else's truth on ourselves. And eventually, when we do that for so long, we don't even know our own truth. We don't even know our own yeses, our nos, and our maybes. So the beauty of this Libra new moon is it's forcing us to really affirm and communicate properly our decisions, properly our needs, properly our rules, our boundaries, and allowing us to feel protected and feel grounded in those spaces. But if we don't take that action, we can't, right? Then there's the other part where we can take this Libra new moon and we can say, hey, I'm ready. I'm ready to balance and tune into it. And you can go this way. You can say, I think pasta's great, hun, but I really can't do the dairy. Is there can we do some sushi, or maybe you can order pasta and I'll order my sushi? Now, you stated what you needed, you stated your boundary. So your person, oh, of course, let's do pasta and let's do sushi. Of course, we'll do that. Or you know what? Why don't we just do sushi all in all? Okay, great. So again, what that was so easy. We could have just simply just said what our needs were. But again, we are making this false feeling, which going back to the never ending story. And I'm going to read this again because we need to sit with it. And I want you to go back to, when have you made a decision that was not actually a full body yes, which was not a full body no. And this is going to hit again. Okay, so think about a time when things were crumbling down and you were at your worst. Today, know that none of that is actually true, right? So all of these problems that you have in your life right now is a choice, right? And you choose to believe those things, but you also choose to continue to nurture them, right? And of course, when you choose that, it's going to keep on staying there. It's going to keep on coming up. You're going to still meet archetypes like people like that who are causing issues in your life. So the sky is not falling. The voice you're hearing is small. And, at the end of the day, you are protected, right? You have this guidance. You need to stop being the narrator of a story that you're putting based on something that you're not expressing, something that you're not allowing yourself to emotionally share. Your needs, emotional intelligence with this Libra new moon is forcing you to say your needs so you can make the clear decision and then have clarity in your purpose and where you need to go next. That's really what it's coming down to. So that's one that came up for me. The other two shadow work prompts that came up for you guys for this Libra new moon on September 20th, 25th, 2022 is that how have you shut down your emotions? Okay. How have you shut down your emotions in the past? Some of us, we couldn't be angry, right? We had to be a certain way with our family. So you were balancing your own internal emotion of anger when your mom said you could not have an extra piece of cake when you were younger, of chocolate cake, and it was 8 o'clock at night, and you couldn't express it, and you started crying, and they said, stop crying. Or you started crying, and they said, if you don't cry, I'm not going to give you cake tomorrow, right? So it's understanding that how do we shut down our emotions? Maybe we showed that we were sad with past relationships with a partner, and they didn't really take it very well because they themselves weren't connected to sadness as an emotional intelligence. And now, as you go through relationships, you notice that whenever you're sad, you just hide, you isolate yourself because you don't want to see yourself as vulnerable. So, this Libra new moon is about balancing how can I allow myself to be seen and show my emotions? Not in a reaction, but just sharing that in a non-violent way, but also allowing myself to feel liberated with myself, doing the shadow work and doing it in a wild and free way too with myself and getting to know what that emotion feels like. So again, what emotions have you imbalanced or tried to control in yourself? And this Libra new moon is going to open you up to allow you to balance that. Okay. The last one that comes up is let people see you messy. Emotions are supposed to be messy, okay? This is one of the parts with the Libra. Libra wants to please everyone. They want to make sure that they look together. They want to make sure things are good. But with that, what happens is they put themselves in jeopardy, right? So knowing that emotions are messy, it's like I talked about this in the last reading when you are coloring at school and all the teachers like, make sure you color in the lines. Well, I had fun coloring outside of the lines. I don't know about you, but I definitely did. So Libra new moon's about be a little bit messy. You don't have to be all structured and poised all the time for everyone. And again, what does that tell you about your truth if you're doing it outside of yourself? Right? So paint outside of the lines, color outside of the lines, explore, like I said, and that means explore in all ways. Maybe that's exploring in your work, that's exploring in your creativity, that's exploring what habits work well for you in the morning routine. That's exploring what self-care looks like for you. That's exploring going on a different running track because you're not on the same one after 40, 50 years. Explore. Maybe that's exploring pleasure with your partner or pleasure with yourself. There's so many ways that you can explore. So here it's like Libra new moon on September 25th, 2022 is all about how can I explore my emotions more to help me slow down and know what my body needs and my soul and my spirit needs. How can I explore my emotions more so I can know when I need to do shadow work and when my frequency is high so I can manifest and create seeds to manifest for the next full moon that's coming up, right? How can I, really explore my emotions so I can allow myself to understand to make the big decision when the time is ready? I can see what my emotions want now, and in doing that, then I can act on it, right? That's huge. I love how everyone's laughing about the whole anger and all the suppressed yeah, 100%. I agree. Is it possible to feel the new moon energies as approach to the new moon? So yeah, 100%. Personally, with me, I feel new moons and full moons 2 weeks before. Sometimes, depending on how big it is, sometimes even earlier. So 100%, you can feel them kind of conjunct because they're all connected, right? So I'm going to go over with the collective. What are some things to see with the collective going into this Libra new moon on September 25th, 2022, 3 days before, the day of, and 3 days after? So some messages that came up for me is seeing that we're going to see leaders for who they are. I talked about this a little bit in the Queen collective email video that I did with her death coming, that happened yesterday. And one of the things that are coming up is we're just seeing for who they are, who they really are. You know, there's going to be ways that they're going to also slow down, right? So you might see certain people ill who are in leadership. This could be in your own like work or at school or whatever, that people are just forced to slow down. And in doing that, you can actually see what they're doing in their leadership, see what they're doing for the collective, see what they're doing for everyone else. The other thing that came up for me is that we're going to see kind of a slowing down of different systems. So that's why I said not to make big financial decisions, because the financial systems and political systems, we're going to see more flaws, especially for Scorpio, Pisces, and what's the other sign? It'll come back to me. Scorpio, Pisces, I want to say Aries. They're going to feel it more of just like more downloads that will come up about the financial systems. Okay. So tuning into, you know, how your finances are shifting. What are some things that you're planning to create? I know some of you in the last live that we did yesterday, you were saying, I just started a new business. I have this idea. I just bought land to make community. I love to hear that from our group and our family here, that you guys are doing these things, because that just makes me so happy for everyone to receive that. So again, like, we're seeing a lot of flaws in the system, but in doing that, that's forcing us to slow down and see what's best for us, what book we want to write in our world, and also seeing what we can emotionally connect to. The last thing that I'm seeing with the collective is that I can't read my writing. One second. It will come back to me. But the biggest thing that I'm seeing with the collective is rebalancing. Okay. So we're just slowing down. I have a feeling around this time that we will see, and I can't say the word, increase of more people having this, whatever they're calling it. But really what it is just it's flu season. So with that, it just means that more people are going to have to slow down. Maybe, you know, your whole household will be under the weather, and that's just your body resetting. That's your body resetting all of the shadow work and healing you've done so far in this year. So these are the main messages that I got for the collective. I want to pull out 2 more cards for you. We're going to do an ancestral card, what card for your ancestors, and then we're going to wrap the video up. Let me know what's coming up for you, what's resonating with you. I know, like I said, we are Pisces. Full moon is as I record this. So how you guys are feeling with the Pisces full moon, or if you watch the recording, how you felt and seeing the connection with that balancing. Because sometimes when with the Pisces full moon, when we're so excited to create something and to make something come into fruition, we burn ourselves out. So it's funny how the Libra new moon is actually calling us to slow down after having this ignitive energy and this like excitement for all this clarity that we're receiving. So for this Libra new moon on September 25th, 2022, we have Heart Guardian, love and let yourself be loved. So I love this card. She's so beautiful. And the reason why I love this card, she kind of gives me Mary Magdalene energy. The reason why I say that is for those who are in a relationship or those who are with loved ones or family, asking yourself, how much do you reject their love? Right. So noticing as you slow down, who shows up and does little things for you to help you out in this time, to ground you, you know? I notice whenever I'm feeling sick, my partner will bring me tea in bed, and it just really makes me happy because I'm like, whoa, I get to get this energy. Before, my sick butt would bring myself upstairs and say, no, I don't want tea. Blah, 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 blah. That is the wounded masculine speaking, right? So here, the heart guardian is saying, how open is your heart to receiving love at this time as you rebalance, to receive support, to receive help. That is from the unseen world, but also from the seen world, from people around you. And this is at work. This is, wherever, your family, your friends, any other relationships. How are you receiving love? How do you reject it? Or what makes you uncomfortable to have your heart open and to receive love and support from other people. That's a big one. So we have 104. So that's 5. Change in your heart, which is huge. Welcome with open arms, opportunities, and give and receive love. The heart guardian is an angelic energy that can help you call protection and guardians to surrounding your heart. So, for those who maybe feel this like lack of trust in themselves, or maybe a trust of this like never ending story and this the negative thoughts that come through, ask for protection from the heart guardian. They're going to bring you that energy, they're going to bring you that love. This is essentially the angel who helps you with all relationships, whether they are yourself, family, or romantic connections. Like I said, she can enable you to move beyond any limiting fears or trust, discernment, and trusting, understanding how you can move forward in balancing the relationship with that person. So, asking yourself in the Libra new moon, how can I open my heart more to this relationship? How can I open my heart more from trusting that my heart will be protected, that my heart is in this person has the best for me, and I have the best for this person? With that intention, it's going to help me either leave that relationship that core needs to leave, or it's going to help me even foster a deeper relationship with that person that I can't even fathom. In this card, she is adored, and the heart, sacred heart, and draped with this red cloak of capacity to let love lead the way. So you are love, lovable and loving. The energy of love is surrounding your world at this time. Angels are swirling around you, encouraging you to open your heart, reveal the blessings that will have you have to offer. They want you to know that you're highly loving, being with deserves, with receiving this deep love. If you are finding it challenging to feel love at this time, it is important for you to give yourself credit where it's due. What do you need to open your heart to love in yourself more? This is a great time to tune into that. How can I be more gentle with myself as I slow down? How can I be more gentle with myself with my manifestations? How can I be more gentle with myself with my shadow work? How can I be more gentle with myself as my shadow self is that voice that's saying all the things, but then I can just tune in and say, I love that part of me. I genuinely love it and come from the heart in that space. They want you to know that you're highly loving and being so deserved of what is love and receiving love. If you are finding it challenging at this time, oh, I already read that. You are also encouraged to welcome support from others. Learn to receive. A lot of us are rejecting receiving. Again, learn to receive. Don't try and do everything on your own. This is exactly what I was sharing. So, where are you pushing your partner to help you out? Why is that? Where does that belief come from? Where are you pushing friends to reach out for you? Where are you saying that you are a burden when you're actually not? Okay, so when you're slowing down, what that forces you is to actually open your heart more. And then when you can come back, revisiting those, working and those tasks that you need to do, your heart is just in such a divine space that it's going to feel this pure energy that it can lead with its heart. Learn to receive. If you are working on a relationship or you are in a new relationship, this card can usher in energies that allow you to forge a powerful connection with a partner. Love is in the air. So, for those of you who just started a relationship, maybe around Libra new moon, you're going to meet someone, or perhaps you currently or recently have dated someone. This is just a sign for you that you, especially if you are a Libra, that you are now being tuned and called to open your heart with that person and take that leap. Maybe that looks like having a conversation and seeing where you both are at and just talking about it after the new moon, once the energies kind of sit and you get that clarity. Maybe that means asking yourself, how are you blocking that person from creating that space for you? They've always had that space, but you've been rejecting it because you've been so busy and you haven't been able to slow down to see that they were here and they're ready to hold you. So that's a huge message. I'm going to leave you with that because that's a deep one for all those in a relationship or recently in a relationship. And again, that person has a lot of love for you. That's all I can say with that feeling. Okay, let's see what affirmation we have. It flew right out. Blame, accept responsibility for the well-being. So accept that the reason why you feel imbalanced is that you need to slow down and you need to rebalance yourself at this time with this Libra new moon. So again, I'm just going to reiterate that this is a great time to work on the shadow work prompt of what do I have to rebalance in my life? What do I have to balance with shadow work and manifestations? And tuning into what is that old story in my mind and how can I love that part of my shadow more instead of looking at it as a burden, instead of looking at it as something that is not, for my best and highest good. Lastly, how can I open my heart more to receive love for myself and to receive love for others? So I hope those shadow work prompts helped you guys out. This was a really deep reading. I was not expecting for it to be so long, but it is. And I'm really grateful. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know in the comment section what came up to you. Let me know in the chat too if there's anything that you want to share. Just reading your comments. Um, I'm happy that it was more confirming. I'm happy to hear that. Possible new food. Okay. Awesome. And then I also want to share with you guys as well a little announcement. I will be going live intuitively on Wednesdays in the morning. It's whenever energetically I can, but I want to be sharing and just do more to help and support you guys. And it's going to be like kind of like a little session where you can experience messages but also attune and receive some guidance with you. So they'll all be led by spirit, which is amazing. I also want to share with you guys who just jumped on, or maybe you didn't hear at the beginning, but I am opening my one-on-ones, 2 spots September, 2 spots in October. Message me on Instagram or through my email on my website. And I have retreats. So I have one in Costa Rica, one in St. Lucia, and one in Quebec, actually, in 2 weeks. And these are medicine retreats. So medicine, breathwork, shamanic healing. So if you've been longing to have community and do this work with, the community here and get to do work with me in person, I would really highly suggest it. We have the Awaken healer. So this is a specific retreat for you to learn how to be a healer and you'll be attuned in Reiki. And I also have the Remember retreat, which is an ancestral retreat, and then the Reset retreat, which is a resetting retreat to help you prepare to get clarity for the season to come. So again, message me. I can give you more information. If you want to learn more, we can chat as well. I am more than happy to help you give more details on that. And then also, if you want to learn more, they also have the courses down below. Stay tuned. I hope you guys have a beautiful, 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 beautiful time. Kim's asking website. Website is chica.com I'll give you the link 1 second before we end the session. Give me a sec. Contact. Okay, so you can contact me here if you want to learn more about any of the want to see you in Quebec. Yes, Nadine, let me know if you want to. It's a 2-day. It's on the 23rd of September to the 25th. So if you're interested in going to that retreat, it's a really beautiful retreat, medicine retreat that you can tune into. And then again, one in Costa Rica, end of October, and one in St. Lucia, the Caribbean, which is beautiful. And that one's going to be at the beginning of December, so we're before the holiday season, which is nice. So I hope you guys have a beautiful, 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 beautiful Libra new moon and also Pisces because I'm recording around this time. Let me know what resonated with you. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, like, subscribe, put notification bells so you don't miss a video. And I will see you guys really, really soon. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.